Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabweans. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to your favorite program, Padare Namambo Soswe, where we discuss social, political, and psychological issues affecting Zimbabweans. And tonight, we are fortunate. We have been joined by Advocate Masiye, who himself is a victim of political persecution in Zimbabwe. Advocate Masiye, please go ahead and greet our viewers and listeners.
No, thank you very much, Mambo Sote, for bringing me on this show. And good evening, good morning to all the viewers. And I anticipate to be talking about things that happened when I was still in Zimbabwe.
Yes, thank you so much. To our viewers and listeners, I think you know that May was Mental Health Month, and this year, this month, June, is PTSD month. And so it's against this background that we are talking to Advocate Masiye so that we understand how this happened, how the persecution happened in Zimbabwe, and how did he deal with that. But first of all, let's see how did it happen. Advocate Masiye, you are just a lawyer. You are not a politician. You were not running for office. So how did you end up being persecuted?
Yes, when I was still in Zimbabwe, just for the context, I used to be a human rights lawyer, and most of the people that I represented were people who were being victimized by the system. The law was being used to persecute political activists. Back then, there were MDC activists who were being arrested under POSA or any nefarious laws that were there. So I would go there as a human rights lawyer and assist most of those people. So I did this work quite effectively, and I can pretty much say I had 99 point something percent victory in court. Because some of the things that were being charged on these human rights activists were pretty much charges that were not well crafted. And when I went to court and argued out cases for my clients, they would be found not guilty, and then they'll be made to go scot free. So some of these cases that I dealt with were sensitive cases. Some cases where if you walk into a police station, you would see the police officers looking at you with that eye that in Shona Chakubata. And I also used to go in areas, such as Magunje, which were pretty much ZANU PF areas or strongholds, and I would go there and represent clients in those areas where ZANU PF people or some government officials would have just crafted charges against a human rights activist and think that no lawyer would come as far as that place. I would go that place, those areas like Magunje and rural areas where courts will be established and represent those people, and they'll be found not guilty. So after they've won those cases, there will be like some heroes in those societies, and I would then become a target. Like, where did this guy come from? What does he do? Such that whenever I did my work, I would have people, following me.
So you mean you actually went to these ZANU PF strongholds like Magunje and represented clients there without any fear?
Yes, I used to go those areas. When I was in Zimbabwe, I did not even care about who was in front of me. When I got a case, even my bosses, I still remember my bosses walking into some office saying, Masiye is overzealous, something like that. But whenever I got a case and I just felt like, no, this is persecution, I would just get into the car, drive off to court and represent my clients. And I was one typical lawyer who would if a client would call me like at 11 o'clock and tell me that they've been arrested, 30 minutes later, I'll be at the police station trying to understand what the charges were and what my client was charged with. So I used to go to those areas. In Magunja, I went there, a couple of times. Bindura, I used to go there representing a lot of people. I think in Bindura, I represented a lot of people. And I do have like, some instances where I had clashes with the magistrate. I think one of the magistrate was actually, paraded in one of the media houses. Who I think she's now at Rottenrow, who once kicked me out of court after I had challenged their decision to to make my clients get representation of their choice.
Wow.
So I was one typical lawyer who just associated myself with the client's persecution and made sure that the law took its course.
Wow. Thank you so much, Advocate. To those that are just joining us, we are talking to Advocate Masiye, a human rights lawyer, and we are trying to find out how a lawyer can end up being persecuted by the system in Zimbabwe. So, Advocate Masiye, can you walk us through, if you don't mind, because I know it's painful and it might affect you to relive those moments.
Yes. So, Chief, when I was handling these cases, to me, when I saw my clients, I just saw them as just clients who were being persecuted, and I felt I had the advantage of representing them because I was the lawyer representing them. And just to take you back, one of the cases that I actually did was a case at it's called Manzo, when I challenged the First Lady Grace Mugabe, who was then the First Lady Grace Mugabe,
Wow.
who was a victim.
You had guts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Through my organization back then, Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, I was the lawyer who single-handedly sued the police who evicted, villagers who were, unlawfully evicted from Grace Mugabe's land that she had acquired at just outside Mazowe there. So those were some of the cases that I dealt with, which to me I was seeing just victims of the law, and people were being persecuted. But when I got a case in 2014, which involved Itai Zamara, it was a case that I felt, was a case of someone who was just being unjustifiably persecuted. Itai Zamara, before I represented him, he was one person who had gone through so much. He was abducted, he was arrested, but the police would not take him to court. And the reason why they would not take him to court is because they knew they had nothing to charge him with. And I still remember having meetings with the Itai telling me that, Masiye, these guys took me from Africa Unit Square, and they blindfolded me together with my colleagues, and they drove the car like some 20, 30 kilometers outside Harare. They beat them and then they left them there, and they would find their way back. But he never stopped. He would come back and sit in the Africa Unit Square. But one day, I was in Bindura. Literally, I'd won a case in Bindura there, a very tense case, involving, I think it was one activist from the MDC who was being charged under POSA. And I was celebrating there. And it was, I think it was around 3 p.m. When I got a call from one of my colleagues that your client has been, in fact, before that, right? Yeah, I think I actually jumped the whole this. I was now talking about this abduction. In November,
Right.
in November 2014, I got a call. Before that, the cases that I was talking about, suing Grace Mugabe, and the police and so forth. I had done a lot of cases. Uh, in Zimbabwe, was called a village lawyer. Human rights lawyers were the village labels. I used to go into communities, my rural communities, represent people and so forth.
Wow.
So because of that, I was recognized by the Zimbabwe lawyers, by the Law Society of Zimbabwe. In America, I would call it the Bar Association, and I was given an award as the young human rights lawyer of that year. That was
Mm.
2014, and I was preparing to go and take my award on that day when I received a call that your client Itai Zamara, he, he might be dead. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's literally in the Africa Unit Square, and we got phone calls that he was attacked by the police. Can you go and see what is happening? But it was just literally like just a few yards, like just a few less than a mile or less than some 500 meters away from the office.
Mm.
So I was about to get into my car to go and collect my award. Then I get the call that Itai is in trouble. I had to abandon my journey to Nyanga and then go and attend to Itai. So I then went to where he was said to be. When I got there, I then phoned back to the office, like, guys, this guy does not need a lawyer. This guy needs a hospital immediately. He was unconscious
Mm.
and he had his colleagues.
So they'd beaten him up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, so you represented him, and then he was abducted again, and then they started coming after you. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get everything straight, but we want to get to
to your
where they also came after you.
yeah. So when I recall uh Itai's circumstances, it's it's
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
So,
so here's
okay.
the thing. So I get to where Itai is. This is the first encounter of the representation that I gave Itai. I get to where Itai is. He's unconscious. He had been attacked by the police. And I call back to the office. This guy does not need a lawyer. He needs help. Um, in my mind, I thought Itai had died. He was just, lying there helplessly, getting first aid from his colleagues. While I was on my phone, the police came. Um, I think there were like five guys now chasing people away from the Africa Union Square. There I am coming in from another angle, seeing Itai lying there on the phone call. These guys rushed back and they asked me who I was. You do I knew? Because I know, did you know right? Then I produced my practicing certificate. We have cards, and then I show them. And this guy seems to be reading my card. Then they comes in like, yeah, I think it was the senior police officer. You know, who India knew? Who's this guy?
Mm.
Because Aruziti lawyer. Because guys, anditi ndakutaurayo kuti musatambise vanhu roye munhu. That was the thing, man. Don't waste time, beat him up. Then they started beating me up in front of my client. Here I am thinking Itai is dead. And when they were beating me up, some of the guys, the police officers, they came in, they were kicking Itai while he was down. So I was like, what's going on here? And my glasses broke in my face. My hand broke immediately. And the guys, I'm forgetting the names, but there were like 3, 4 guys who were like attending to Itai. They were being attacked too. And
Mm.
there was this guy, Mpurisa. He was holding my belt as I was being attacked. These guys were like They were not that strong, and they were busy attacking me. Then I was like, guys, what is
Using button sticks and
what?
fists and
Yeah.
everything.
It was button sticks, some were kicking, and I was so much disoriented. And I was like, guys, mavuna roko wrong, guys, mavuna roko wrong. And so this guy, Angakani Bata Roko, he then releases me. And in my mind, I was just like confused. The lawyer, Dr. Wapanapaka. Then I just started to run directionlessly. And and they followed me. I think one police officer threw a button stick. He was aiming for the head, but it actually like shoved over my head. And there were taxi drivers who were like, like this is Africa Union Square. There were taxis which parked. So the taxi drivers who actually saw everything. They saw Itai being attacked. They saw me coming in. Then the taxi driver, there was one taxi driver who just opened his taxi, and I just jumped in, and he
Oh,
drove away. And he was like, Mkoma, do it a saver. Because the Wakoma Nanga Chuyo. Then I just said, you know, take me to the police station. I need to report this. I'm reacting like a lawyer. Take me to the
yeah.
police station. Then I get to the police station there, the central police station. There are steps there. I was like, this arm is broken. So I was like getting this. It was so painful, and I was getting this like Roko Rachi Rombo doesn't Pora. Then it just comes. It doesn't grow words and all that stuff. And I asked him like, "I'm coming. She want to quit my steps."
Mm.
DP charge office. Then he was like, inini
I can't
mkoma
get in the police station.
akaramba. The thing chandingangoita ndekuti ndokusiya pagedhi pana
Mm.
kupinda mungao because zvandatoita ndatotiza nemi ndomazobatanidzirwa. I don't even know that guy but he was like someone akatondiseva that guy. Then I get into the police station, and then it was so painful. I passed out. Ndapinda mama. Then Ndrukumuga, I'm surrounded by police officers. Um, there is some pana ka station ka officer in charge karipakati. There's some, and these guys were so much concerned. This guy a collapsed. Because people were like, because in the police station, when I go under my man, then I just collapsed in police station.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the police were concerned. Then I wake up and ndikudirwa mvura chichaitika. Then ndikangama ndiri mupolice station, and these are the same guys. Kati ano ndarohwa nechi nevakomana mapurisa chi ku what do you call this,
Africa Unit Square.
in square. And they then immediately changed, and they were helping me. Then they just immediately changed. Okay, Kenyatta, they were like, "Chora mkomana oyo munomisa pasaspe steps, like pasaspe counter." Like if if you're familiar with the police station, I was
Yes.
under the counter. Kuti vanhu vasamuone.
Mm.
So there, for I don't remember. I still had my phone. I was there, I think for I don't even remember. Probably I was there for an hour or minutes, but Roko Ruang Raku much. Was that right? I could not raise it down. I had to keep it at a level. Then I would raise that down, I would scream because it was so painful. And did pass by, I remembered putting that in phone. Then I just text my wife. Gati ndiripa police station pa central vada undiuraya. Yeah. So
And
so my wife then he then sent word to
your office.
to my office, and about 5 to 10 colleagues, lawyers, came to Para Central looking for me. At that time, I was taken newakomana, some CIOs um, vakanditora
Yeah, take your time. Take your time, Advocate. Yeah, I know it's difficult.
yeah. So these guys took me. I was actually literally carried irokuruchirwadza into some office, like it should have been adjacent, like the office charge here. Then ndakadatorwa ndikaenda, these were like CIOs, because ndakapinzwa muroom, the office yakanzi police intelligence peace, those are basically CIOs, peace, police,
Yes.
internal or whatever intelligence.
Mm.
They then took me go, and they would make me in the akomana ndikurwadziwa, then they would make me roll ndine roko rwangu ndichirwadziwa on the floor, titaurira kuti iwo naitai murikupurana chii.
Mm.
Tipa iwo naitai guys, into law inini, and Ita is my client, and I don't even know where he is right now. In my mind, I don't know that Ita is dead, because I ndambomuna achipakanyika bva ndirohwe nditize ndiye kupolice station. In my mind, Ita is dead, and so vari kuramba vachingondibvunza nzano, don't know what.
And you're possibly thinking that they were also going to kill you, obviously.
That was in my mind, and yeah, I went out to search her. I went out to anything. I still have my phone, yes, but now because of the pain, I could not even open my eyes. Because what I just wanted to do was just to sleep, was just sleep away the pain. But these guys kept vachimodita kuti roller chichichi, and then I think at one point in time vese vakambobuda that office here, and they thought kuti hamfesuichi I collapse. Then I managed to crawl ndichibuda ndichipinda mucorridor, and ndichibuda mucorridor mamea, apparently I noticed kuti office yacho was just next door ku office yanonzi dispo, and dispo, dispo. So I actually crawled into office again, and akatondiona akomana vada kundikwadza, then akabatodedza mapurisa akanzi imi mukai iri kutsvage chii kunoku chii, handiti torai muende nemunhu wenyu. That's what he said, and literally probably might have said it somewhere. Then those guys came and took me, then ndadzosora that office here, and this time akabhandisa pa zvimachairs avo kanzi chingorara, and one guy abagara nini imomo. So apparently pavakabuda, lawyers were now making noise, and kuzasi police station, and ari panapa Kennedy Masiye is here, we know that he's here, and apparently they started going my offices vachivhura tsvaka svika vatozondiwana kwana ndiri. The lawyer akatanga kusvika anonzi Tonderai Batasara, he's a senior lawyer ari kuZimbabwe, and that was the lawyer that I first saw and pandakamuona mukoma Batasara, I was so much relieved kuti panapa, like I'm saved. Then they started to talk to the police, and but this guy has been tortured, and we need to file a police report now. And kwanziendai kuna police, officer in charge who takes my reports. Then they went. I'm now being told later on. Then they attempted to make a report on my behalf, so that I can get medical treatment to a government hospital because of this. And
Yes.
they literally just vakaramba atizotora that, and then what I recall is seeing my wife arrive. Then I just passed out, and when I woke up, I was to hospital, and and I stayed in hospital for some 4 days. Then I saw cast. So that was the encounter that I had with the system. And at hospital, that's when I realized that Itai was alive and Angari Muwadi Anandiri.
Oh,
And and what Itai did,
wow. So,
Itai
yeah.
Itai Itai literally walked akawaya kuwadi Anandiri. And they apologized.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah. I still remember the words. Masiye, I'm sorry. Could you had to go through this? That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, this is what I had to go through. And now that we're talking about the Thai, Zota Arikupi, we know we've got the names, we've got the names of the people who are suspected with the Nakamtora, and we tried um, after this encounter. When in fact after this encounter, it was only 4 months. In fact, it was 5 months after this encounter that he was then disappeared. Because this happened in November of 2014, and in March of 2015, that's when he was uh, he was abducted. And the uh, the iron of it is that when I was attacked, I was representing. People can probably Google this. I was representing one client, under the Cosmas Nyambara. That case has set precedents in how to sue Mapurisa in terms of claiming damages. I was representing Cosmas Nyambara, who had been shot in an attempted murder in Mapurisa after he was suspected of some other crime that he had not committed. So I was representing Cosmas Nyambara. At that same time, and I represented Itai in the High Court, suing the police for attempting to kill him. And I was supposed to go to court the following week after my attack, and judge had to ask, "Kumasi yarukupi, kesi yake wala kupera." And the prosecutor had to tell the judge, Masiye was attacked by the police. Imagine, prosecutor who's representing Mapurisa out of the very same police officers. Vaataka Masiye. So the judge was so curious. She wanted to really know what happened Kwandirini. And she had to postpone that case kuswika February of the following year, so that because it took me about 3 months for me to go back to work. So when I went back to work, I still had a cast. I got pictures and I got Torwa. I still had a cast. Then I went and finished up my case, and we won that case against the police. But a few months later, that's when Itai was then abducted, and to date, Atuzoti Arkupi.
So, Advocate Masiye, I'm so sorry for what you went through. It shouldn't happen to any well-meaning human being. It shouldn't happen to any human being for any reason, for that matter. So just you seeing um, Itai lying there lifeless, and you thought he was dead, and you also being attacked at the same time, your experiences at the police, the police are supposed to be helping people. They were not forthcoming to help you. Um, how did that affect you, socially, physically, mentally?
Yeah, can tell you from that experience. Uh, to date, this happened a couple of years ago, but it's
It's like it had happened yesterday.
yeah, I still cannot shake it up, shake it off. Was when I was being attacked, um, I I was surprised. The a whole system, yeah, police. You think with a lawyer should work in collaboration with the police. My client is there, then you actually satisfy yourself with your lawyer. Then you go ahead and just attack him like that. To me, it was an eye opener, and a shocker too. Bozi Nananzwa, like I used to get cases of people telling me that this happened to them, and I would take them, with the belief they're not on a client, but this was not happening to me, and I was like, so how am I going to be seen to be representing my clients when I cannot even defend myself here? Even the system does not even respect myself. So I was like, I was so devastated, and I was so paranoid because after that I used to get like you know people following me. At one point in time, I got home, then I someone thought they would do a prank on me, and dug a grave in my yard, and when I attempted to report that to the police started to question
Did
me.
that happen to you?
Oh yeah,
I remember reading about it. Was that you?
yeah, that's me.
They
Yeah,
dug a grave.
they dug a grave in my drive yard. Yeah, so this was now after Itai disappeared, and we're now investigating. So someone thought they would frighten me by digging a grave in my yard. So they dug a grave. So my yard had uh, had these interlocking stones like tiles. They took that out. Then they dug a grave in my yard. And to me, in my mind, I thought these guys just wanted to take me out, me and my family, bury us in our own yard, then leave our car in our own yard. Then Konzi Masiye akatiza adidi, but tichingori mochi in our yard. That's what came to my mind. That was the plan. So from that day, from those incidents and my attack in this Shitika, I just felt it. Well, okay, uh, probably it's time for me to find plans. You could save my family, and
Yeah, because that's what I was about to ask you. How did this affect your family and young children?
yeah, I did. If I had known, I could have shown you a photo of my oldest son greeting me Jibudamu Hospital, and I was on a wheelchair, and the young chap was asking, "Daddy, what happened to you?" And I couldn't even tell him that I know the government did this to me, or the police did this to me. You know, just told him like, "Yeah, son, I'm sick." Yeah, so I couldn't even get to tell him that,
Hmm.
and it was just me, my young son, and my wife, three, who were now, yeah, under this situation. So for me, it was like I came to a point where I thought probably, my work was now interfering with my family life. Like Saga, do it as say, here I am, I'm a human rights lawyer trying to represent people. Here I am, being attacked almost to the extent yokuda kutourawa, and I've got a young son, and my wife is still young, and all those issues were now coming to my head, and zvakambonivhiringidza for a while. Even my wife probably she can attest. There were some moments where I could not, I did not even want anyone, like to talk to anyone, like just to be in silence, just keeping quiet, and not even answer calls and so forth, and yeah, I did get some help when I was in Zimbabwe through an organization called the CSU Counseling Service Unit.
Yes.
Um, they they offered me some assistance. I saw some you know some psychologists and all that stuff who would talk to me about what happened to me. But to me, when this happened to me, was there was I remained in Zimbabwe for for some months, and in my mind I was like, this cannot just go like that. I cannot be cowed into submission by people who want to persecute me and attack me. And I was a bit selfish because I did not take into consideration my family.
Yeah.
And I was so committed to suing these police officers because after the attack, here's the thing: after the attack, Itai came to me and in my office, Masiye, wakakuroga ndiningi naningi naningi. These guys are the ones vanondi abductor vakanda abductor on this occasion, so pana papana constable Matsikidze, papana assistant, the other guy, I'm forgetting the name, but there were two guys that they identified. And so so to me I was like, okay, now we have people. Itai was going to be my witness in my case, and I was going to be a witness in his case because I saw him Akararabas. He had also other guys who actually witnessed this case. So we sued the government. Itai has got a case pending right now in the High Court, suing the government for 300,000, and it's still pending right now. If anyone wants to look it up, and I also have a case which is still pending in the High Court right now, suing the police for $500,000. So I was so dead committed to find justice, and through this means. But alas, my witness was abducted, and when we submitted those, because for me, I actually even when he was talking about Matsikidze, I then put together, and we actually verified that Matsikidze was one of the people Wangwari Peba. But now here's the thing: when we put in our papers, the police gave those guys alibis, and vanzi Matsikidze anga ari kumusha kwake I think vakati kwamurewa vakati this other guy anga ari kumusha kwake, so they had police officers testifying on their behalf. But these guys were vanga leave, and they were never involved in that. And in their response to my case, they told me that vanakakwa attacker were not police officers. There were no police officers near or around after Uni Square. These are the police who you think are supposed to be protecting people, uh, telling the courts lies. So they were saying with the Isusu Tekazunzwa report, we're reacting to a report that there was someone who was being attacked by some thugs who were not anywhere near the recognition in Mapurisa. That's what they told us in our papers. So it was like, okay, so I still am waiting for my day in court to actually prove my case and and see that justice is done.
Yeah, this is serious. Zimbabweans that are listening, this is the state of affairs in Zimbabwe. People being persecuted for their political opinions, people being persecuted for helping those who need help, like Itai Dzamara. He needed a lawyer, but himself and the lawyer both ended up being attacked, ended up being physically assaulted. So when Advocate Masiye is speaking, you may think that this is unreal, but this is what is happening. This is just one case in many cases. And I want to ask Advocate Masiye the last question here. I know this has been, a very difficult moment, reliving all those painful moments, and I just wonder how your family took it. Your children seeing a grave dug in your driveway, and seeing you, the father, in that state, how it affected them and how it affected you mentally. And of course, you did take treatment from CSU, but did that help at all? And how are you still dealing with it, with these issues, even today?
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten over that situation. It was to me at that time. I could say I was someone who was living the moment, and in my mind, it was someone who well, I have to fight back using what I know best. But I did not realize how deep, the impact had done in me and my wife. Because I can tell you, like my wife no longer felt comfortable me going to work, and she would call literally like, "You, are you okay?" And all that stuff. So it took a toll on me and my family, my parents, who had to see me in hospital on on what I can term the deathbed, and also even my colleagues. I can tell you right now that if I just jokingly say to my colleagues, "Wakomana, ndikudzoka kumusha," they would say, Shama, Satada kukuviga and they still have that. The trauma is not only on me; it also traumatized even my fellow colleagues who just want me to be safe, and make sure that I continue to represent people in the way that I can, and safely so.
Yeah. So yeah, this is uh, this is very difficult. And we know that you are not the only one. We have had cases of Joanna Mamombe, an honorable member of parliament, Cecilia Chimbiri, Netai Maroa, Tawanda Mchehiwa, many others that have been persecuted, and maybe many that are being persecuted that we do not know. What message would you give to the young people in Zimbabwe, and maybe that have not yet been persecuted, in light with what is going on in Zimbabwe, that we are going for elections right now? Would it be a reprieve to people like you, to people like Honorable Mamombe, if the political situation in Zimbabwe was to change as we
Yes,
finish?
yes, definitely, Chief. You know, as a Zimbabwean, you've got the right to, to liberty, and also try to personal security. And if that is taken away, then you know you pretty much are being denied either or some other rights that come with it. Freedom of association. For me, I can no longer associate with my clients. Freedom of expression. I can no longer express myself as a professional. Freedom. The right to to employment. I can no longer be employed, gainfully in my own country. So, if this whole situation was to change, you would find out that people will enjoy, and people will feel safe, and people would would express themselves freely. And to all colleagues who are still in Zimbabwe and representing or their constituencies, advocating for human rights, for me, I believe they should not stop, because there is the more people realize that this is a situation that affects them, even though they are not part of the persecution, the more the system fails to then get people to see, fails to single out people to persecute. Because I believe, like Itai Zamara, just coming to Itai Zamara, I can say this for many people. There were some people who believed that Itai Zamara was just doing stuff on his own, or they did not even believe what he was doing, and they just left him there. Let Ana Itai. And right to date, probably some don't even believe that Itai Zamara was abducted. But I know a lot of people now realize that he was abducted, and he was fighting for the freedoms that was still fighting today. And if people had joined him at that time, Itai Zamara would be here with us today. So, to all colleagues out there, to those who are still thinking of joining, or even joining the forces of defending human rights, I say to them, please do not leave your colleagues to hang and dry. Whenever we're fighting for rights, let's join in and let's talk with one voice. And if we talk with one voice and we confront the system in our masses, there's nothing they can do to us.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Advocate Masiye, and to our viewers and listeners. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. This is Change Radio, and we talk about issues that affect human beings, that affect humanity, that affect citizens, that affect communities in Zimbabwe and outside Zimbabwe. And as you heard in this episode, Advocate Masiye recounting, reliving the heartbreaking moments that he had to go through in Zimbabwe, and how it affected him mentally, physically, and also economically, because he could not work in Zimbabwe. And even now that he is here in the United States of America, he can't shake off the feeling. You can't take away the pain, the psychological pain, and the mental pain that these persecutions cause. So we just pray and hope that the situation changes in Zimbabwe. And that's why at Change Radio, we continue to tell you that please, let's go and vote. It's your right to go and vote so that the situation in Zimbabwe can change. And we're going to leave you with the same song that we started with from Osaya Chipanga, saying Tutungamireo Baba, from what is happening now. Until we meet again in other programs, it's yours truly, Mambo Soshe. Thank you. God bless you.